Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 31 of Untapped. Today, we've got Mr. Jack. I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
Scialoia. Jack
Scialoia. Wonderful. Jack is here from Boston now. How many weeks?
This is my 17th day here. Yeah.
Dang.
17th
Heck yeah,
day,
brother.
Yep.
Right on. Well, we look forward to getting into learning more about Jack, catching up things into the Untapped and around the Untapped. I'm down a little bit today. Been battling through some stuff, but I got my bud Jack here that's been lifting me up. I got my boy Kai behind the scenes on the camera, trained under the great Dana Cox. So he's getting his podcasting skills done. We'll be catching up with Levi here in a minute. He's been working his tail off, building business and training athletes alongside training to be the first MLB to UFC fighter. So, man, you've been here 17 days, moved here from all the way from Boston.
Yeah.
What inspired you to move out here, my brother?
A lot of stuff. I would say the number one thing that pulled me here was the mind of Tim Welch, definitely. The Red Hawk Recap is one of many podcasts that I've become obsessed with over the past 2 to 3 years. I've kind of hit, I would say, around March 2020, and if you want to put the timeline together, it makes a lot of sense. I kind of started living a completely different way and started to dissect my brain, like just day by day, and just tried to really kind of brainwash myself away from the stuff I grew up with. And that doesn't mean I grew up in a bad environment. I'm very grateful for everything I grew up with. It's just there's been something in my head for years, like around 16, 17, that I didn't resonate completely with my environment. And I just started to really get obsessed with reading and writing and watching podcasts and listening to interviews during workouts and everything. And I think right now I look at this as my coming out party, really. I've never really been
Microphone a little bit. But
my bad. I've never really been someone that posts on social media. If you look at my Instagram right now, there's 0 posts. And I came here to change that. I really think that the work that I've done behind closed doors the past 3 to 4 years is this has been 3 years in the making, really, how I think
Beautiful.
about it. I think I'm put on this earth to talk about important stuff and to encourage others to do the same and to get out of that typical that 9 to 5, that typical American lifestyle that, we just want to work 9 to 5 and go home and just, fill ourselves with junk food
Heck
and
yeah,
all
man.
that shit. I just since I was about 18 and 19, I really got obsessed with these types of topics. So
beautiful,
that's
man.
what brought me here. Yeah.
You've inspired me a lot and encouraged me in a short amount of time,
Yeah.
brother. I appreciate you. It's kind of cool that we've got this network growing, this community
Yes.
growing, and Tim Welch and Sugar Sean O'Malley really sparked it, and it's really brought, I think, an uprising of existing people, and I think especially in the younger males, I think that's probably a bigger population that want to improve, that want to build health optimization, that want to take it to another level to counter all of these things that are going on in the world, or there's technology or whatever. We want to take it to the next level. We want to take the next level of sports entertainment.
Yeah.
Where I might be a little bit burned out on where sports have been going for a while, and school and a lot of different things, and now there's kind of a revival of something beautiful building, I think, and I think there's a like-minded community, and I think there's a lot of like-minded communities popping up, but we're a particular one, I think, that is really, really grounded and after the latest in building health optimization, building every healthy aspect of what it is to connect together with other people, how to build one another up, going further in breath work, how to get our minds in a better, healthier state, how to get our bodies to be able to fight off those things that try to attack us and take us out. And then we circled it around fighting the hardest possible thing the human body could do. What is thought of as by some as something that's brutal and horrible is we believe and have found it to be something to be the most healthy and most beautiful thing. I mean, it could go down a bad place, but so can other things too. But kind of getting off track. But so stoked with Jack. So grateful to know he's been helping us at the Recharge Center, and we've just been building. It's been a good time to kind of build the business. We're trying to take it to the next level here, so we're really excited. We launched upped our sales team this week and really went after it. So it's kind of fun to be able to work together and just kind of grow together, learn together, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm real stoked to learn more and more about you. And it's pretty dope that to find out that back in Boston, you were a teacher. And how did you get into teaching?
So it actually, the whole story of me teaching kind of plays into everything we're talking about right now. My dad has been a teacher for, I want to say 27, 28 years.
Wow.
In 4th and 5th grade in the city of Boston.
Beautiful.
And I had no idea how good
Love
he
it.
was at his job until I started working with him. When I was 21, I started substituting at his school, and it was really eye-opening for me to see just the way all the students, particularly, but the faculty too, just how everyone there interacted with him. I'm very grateful for my time teaching, and it definitely was a very eye-opening experience. It brought me to see how lucky I am to have come from the family that I came from, and it's definitely something. Working with kids is definitely something that to this day I'm very passionate about, and if that's in my future, I honestly I bet it probably is. Yeah, I just so I would substitute for, I think I substituted for my senior year of college and then last year, so 2 years, and I would go from pretty much classroom to classroom. So Monday I'd be subbing the regular first grade, and then Tuesday I'd be subbing art for all grades, and then Wednesday I'd be subbing gym. It would just be a different assignment every day, which in the long run, like, you would think that's like really annoying, or like, because you're never with a solid group of kids that like get to know you or whatever.
Yeah.
But really, what it allowed me to do is to pick and to see different subjects and ways kids interact with different types of
Nice.
subjects, like stuff like that. And it was just it honestly, teaching was very fun, and I'm very grateful for for obviously my father at the William Russell School in Dorchester, but obviously the group that we had at the Russell too. You guys know who you are. I think we had a really solid group, and I think I'm sincerely never going to forget those days. I think working at the Russell really brought me to where I am today. Even if my current dreams or current aspirations have nothing to do with elementary school, there was a lot about just human beings and people that I learned there and that I picked up from, and I'm very grateful to have had that job. Yeah.
Hey, Untapped community, everybody out there, don't you just love this guy? Come on, he's an awesome dude, man. We're really grateful for him, and we're glad that we can chop it up here into the Untapped. Heck yeah, man. And your mom was a kickboxer?
Yes. So
Wow.
The inspiration behind the whole MMA thing was definitely both parents. My mom originally started with Tai Bo.
Nice.
I think, God knows.
Tai Bo, is that Billy Blanks?
So guess what? So she worked
Hell
with
yeah.
Billy Blanks.
No way.
So she flew out to California because Billy Blanks
Wow.
wanted her to help teach.
Wowzers.
And yeah, that's actually funny that you brought that up. And I have plenty of pictures.
He's
of
a
them
man.
together, yeah. I think she just got interested in it for working out. And then like over time she kickboxed and boxed and did even a little bit of MMA, just training.
Nice.
I think for competition she just had a couple of boxing smokers in Boston too. And But yeah, at the same time, my dad was the one that found, if I remember this story correctly, so mom and dad, if you're watching this, I'm sorry if I fuck it up. But I'm pretty sure my dad is the one that found the UFC. He turned on the TV, and I want to say, if I remember this correctly, my mom actually like said something negative, like, why are you watching that? Like, that's crazy or something. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like that sounds right. But yeah, so that was literally, I want to say that was UFC 1. I think my parents from the jump were just fanatics about it. They had a mutual friend with Dana White. So in the early days of the UFC, they were flying out to Vegas and flying out to Atlantic City, and
it's amazing.
They were at a lot of like OG cards. I got pictures at my house with my parents with like young Matt Hughes, Robbie Lawler, Din Thomas, who else? Tito Ortiz, who was growing up. He was my when I was 5 and 6 years old, I would run around my house with a flame winter hat on. I was obsessed with Tito Ortiz for some reason. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I can't really tell you. I think the reason why I gravitated towards it is because if we think about it, physically fighting somebody is probably like the scariest thing we could do outside of war. Like if you really think about that,
Good
like
word.
Instead of like someone with a gun pointing at you, it's their fists. And I think there's a giant level of admiration that everybody has for fighters. If you think about it, not everyone's gonna sit in on a football game, not everyone's gonna sit on a basketball game, but if two people are squaring up in front of you, you're gonna watch. You know what? It's the truth. And like there's just something about it. It's in our DNA. Fighting is in our DNA. And
100%.
it's just something that I've been obsessed with my entire life. I feel like, and like my boys back home, I'm that guy that everyone's always hitting me up for picks and UFC knowledge and everything. I'm like that guy that just is obsessed with the fight game, and I could probably read you down like the rankings of every division. Like I'm just, and I don't even like try hard to do that. I'm genuinely obsessed just with the fight game. I take a lot of inspiration from a lot of fighters, and that being said, I like if you told me 2 months ago that I'd actually be doing this right now, I'd be like, holy shit. But the fact that I'm training under Tim Welch right now, and Sean O'Malley's just casually in the corner. It's pretty awesome. But at the same time, I didn't come here. This is actually a very important part that I wanted to make sure I mentioned. I didn't come here to get better at jiu-jitsu. I didn't come here to become a fighter. I honestly think both of those things are going to happen. But I came here to gain consciousness. I came here to really add to myself and to surround myself with a bunch of individuals that, one, are doing what I want to do, but two,
Nice.
are much, much, much better than me right now. And I think that's a very important skill that not many people learn. I'm 23 years old, and I'm very fortunate to have learned that. But I think a lot of people just stay in the same place with the same people with the same type of job
Truth.
for their entire life. And this move literally took me 3 years to grow the balls to do this. I've wanted to do this for 3 years.
That's awesome.
And about probably 12, 13 weeks ago, I hit my sister up. My sister's out in Phoenix, and I was just like, how much money did you have when you moved out to Phoenix? And she was like, I didn't have anything, and I came out here. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm coming. And I finished up my summer job, and I just couldn't wait anymore. I really just wanted to be in an environment where everyone was just health conscious. Everyone was obsessed with just like obsessed with making the best version of themselves possible. And I think obviously like you could find that at any martial arts gym, but just in my opinion, just from the stuff that Tim talks about on his podcast, from fighting to all the mindset stuff to all the points he mentions about Tim Ferriss and all of that. Like, that's why I came here. It's much more than MMA or jiu-jitsu. It's the culture that's here. It's the community that's here. And just from the podcast, really, I just had a sense in my brain. There was just something in my head saying, like, go, stop listening to everyone at home. Go, you're not crazy. Go. And I get why people probably thought I was a little nuts for making this move, especially driving 2,700 miles by myself over a week. But I really, that was actually a very important thing for me too. I really wanted to come up here alone, and I didn't want anything messing just like with my energy or anything. I wanted everything to just like stay, I just wanted to come here for a fresh start. And I wanted to completely make something on my own, not because I didn't want like people to be a part of it or whatever. I just felt like for so long, and I'm fortunate for it, but for so long I was just so comfortable and so like complacent with my life, and that comes from my parents, being successful and having good paying jobs, and just being like a great support system. But at the same time, I just felt like my stay in Boston was like overdue, if that makes sense. I felt like there was something calling me to make a move, and I don't have any hate towards Boston or anything. I just felt like I needed to surround myself with a different environment, and so far I'm not even just blowing smoke right now. I 17 days.
Yeah.
I would say I have never built a connection with another human being like the one that me and Kyle have built over the past 17 days. Seriously.
Right on.
I didn't even go up to this dude. He came up to me, and it was literally like fate. Like, it was like God was like, here you go. Like, he just came up to me, introduced himself. We just started talking. He brought up the recharge center, and we just started talking, and he ended up literally just bringing me into this community. And right now, still, like, you're probably the only guy that knows my name's Jack in the gym. like I'm being honest. But like, I can just sense that in a few weeks, in a few months, when I start to get really comfortable in that gym, and when people start to actually get to know me, I think we're gonna make something special here, and especially in the recharge center. But yeah, I'm just you don't know how grateful and how happy I am to finally. I feel like this is the first 17 days of my life that I'm actually acting like myself.
Hey, we're grateful you made that move. It takes a lot of courage to do what you did.
Mm-hmm.
That's an incredible thing, and I think it's just a real special thing going on here. You got these guys, Tim and Sean, that showed that you can be real. You can be you can just be yourself, and you can be a leader, and you can stay diligent and work hard and stay consistent to goals, and you can there's opportunity out there to achieve your dreams, such as podcasting. I think it's a really exciting community we're a part of that has a lot of not only just young, fresh, very talented jiu-jitsu and MMA athletes, but also in podcasting. And I think this community is just a really exciting place in the entire world right now. If you kind of pay attention to what we're doing here, people have come and visited from around the world. There's something real special brewing here, and with Sugar and Tim winning the UFC championship, let's see, has it been a week now? How long is it? 2 weeks?
When they fight the 18th, maybe.
That sounds right.
18th, 19th, somewhere around there. So yeah.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Was it literally last weekend?
It was last Saturday. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that happening, and Sugar, Tim becoming the youngest fight coach in all of sports, going back how many years? I don't know. There's never been a recorded professional fight coach that has produced this caliber, especially of a champion in all of fighting. That's probably including boxing and UFC. And then Sugar is currently the youngest champion of all fighters right now, of all UFC fighters. He's the youngest champion. He's number 8 pound for pound now, and he's also, in our humble, honest, real opinion, probably the greatest athlete, entertainer in the world. And he's, if you look at science and you look at where entertainment has gone, and we built on all these greats in the past, Muhammad Ali and all the Michael Jordan and stuff, we're looking at the apex of that right now, where he's building something new, and we can't wait to see what's next, because these guys are only getting better. If you're paying attention, they're onto something very special. Where we're looking at Tim Welch, doing stuff like Vince Lombardi. He's not just, you see Vince Lombardi quoted all the time, and businesses have him, top businesses, corporations have his quotes up above their desk. Tim has really tapped into something in that leadership role, and I think that it's really awesome to see that. It's encouraging to me where I'm battling, and sometimes I feel like, man, this business is never going to get going, or we're never going to achieve where we are because I keep getting sick or whatever. But the obstacle can be the way. We can achieve this. It's not always the prettiest the way you look, but if you stay diligent and you keep rolling, and like Jack is saying, you look for people and you align yourself with people who are like-minded, people who are positive, people who aren't trying to hold you back or maybe have some envy. I think there's people that we can have in our lives that'll have moments of, maybe they're with us or they're like, yeah, I want to be close to you. And then we got moments where they're just envious and they say backhanded comments, or they say things to us that tear us down. And I believe there's a pretty deep evilness in that. And we don't want to just exclude ourselves from everybody, but at the same time, surrounding ourselves with people who are like-minded, that want to, we're imperfect, but humbly build one another up. I think that's so vital to achieving goals, but also to optimize health. And like for me, it's a life and death matter. It's so important to be in those modes, because if something doesn't work, I go down really fast and I start going towards having to stay in the hospital and death. So these things are real. This is the real deal. This stuff works, and we believe that we're part of something that's incredibly special, and we're just super grateful to be able to share this. Jack is a big fan of podcasts, right? You listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
Who are some of the top podcasts that you're listening to?
Good question. How many people are on Mount Rushmore?
4.
All right. So if I could have my Mount Rushmore of podcasting,
I like that.
or just influencers in general, I would say
That's
my
dope.
focus has been around Andy Frisella from
Nice.
First Form. Joe Rogan, definitely the inspiration of, he's very important. Nothing for any specific belief that he has, but the fact that he can have a comedian on, and then a doctor on, and then an athlete on in 3 days in a row. I think that's a very important skill as a human being that a lot of people are ignorant to. And I think we naturally just gravitate towards those that have the same opinions as us. But I think we go wrong when we demonize people that have different opinions instead of asking,
Good word.
Why
Beautiful.
why do you think that? And
Beautiful.
Joe Rogan's definitely been a huge inspiration. I get made fun of a lot back home because all I do is watch Rogan. But I would say Andy Frisella, Joe Rogan, David Goggins definitely, and then who else? How am I forgetting? Patrick Bet-David. Those four have been responsible, honestly, for me rewiring my brain over the past 3 years. And again, like I said before, like I didn't grow up with anything bad at all. I just grew up in a regular environment, if I want to put it like that. Just a safe, complacent environment. And I've never been, already in 17 days, I've never been around this many professionals in anything. And just to see the work ethic live in front of you, it really humbles you, but at the same time, it really makes you think like, one, I can do this, and two, I fucking want to. Like I can see myself being like this in 2 to 3 to 4 years, or however long it takes. But like, for example, what Tim is doing right now, he's a black belt, has his own gym, and has a podcast. To me, that is the dream life. Like that is exactly what I would want to do. And that's why I came out here. I wanted to surround myself with people that are currently being professionals in the avenues that I want to go towards. I think
that's beautiful. I think that you look at I love to speak and err on the end of going over optimistic and more on the hope side. And if you look at, probably your parents are pretty close, fairly close in age to me. And that generation, of course, we want more for our kids.
Yes.
And the world has changed so much that it's hard to really tap into what is needed for that change. And even places are shifting so rapidly where in the world and where in different cities where uprisings of good things and healthiness are happening. And if you look in the history in the last couple generations, you got Hollywood. Everybody moves to Hollywood. I moved to Hollywood, California when I was when let's see, how old was I? Kyle Hanan at 20 years old, packed my car up didn't have very much at all, and used the internet when it just started, and had to wait for the pictures and the ding dong and the thing, and found one of the first people are blown away. Yeah, that I found a little studio apartment in Hollywood, cockroach infested, and just moved down there. And I was going to got into USC, but it was also the main reason is I wanted to live under the Hollywood sign, and there's something special that had been growing in the previous generations in Hollywood. And you get the stars, and now you've got, I believe, you've got like Austin. A lot of people are moving to Austin, Texas. You got a huge thing going on there, and very exciting in the podcasting world and jiu-jitsu. And I think it's becoming, in a lot of ways, the new Hollywood. But then you got Peoria, Arizona over here. No. I think we got a little bit of something special for reals, really brewing in this place right now. I feel it. I don't even have an exact handle on it, but it's got a flavor of a little bit of Hollywood, a little bit of Austin, a little bit of New York. It's something there, I think.
Now a little bit of Boston. Now a little bit of
Boston. Hey, man, absolutely got much love for Boston. We just had the Yes Sugar one as his championship in Boston, and the fans were crazy. That hearing about what happened over there, that there was just people mobbing wherever Sugar would be, and people are wearing the crazy Sugar Sean hair, and they're giving so much love. The whole place. Your parents were at the UFC event, right?
I had a ticket to the fight and everything, and I literally just gave it to my dad because I had this urge in my head. Like, this sounds like a made up story. Like, it sounds like a movie. I had this, just this voice in my head that wouldn't shut up, that was saying, stop wasting time. Stop wasting time and go and go and go. And I can confidently say that coming out here, even with the current circumstances, Kyle Hanan's the only one that knows my name right now. And I would still say that this is by far the best decision of my life. Like, completely. And am I going to be in Peoria for the rest of my life? I have no clue. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing next month. But right now, on August 27, 2023, this is the place where I'm supposed to be. This is the plan. This just feels so right now, even with me being so new, and this just giant culture shock of Arizona for me too. Just everyone out here moves completely differently, and I mean that in a good way. And it's been interesting for me to get used to. But I can already feel myself slowly, day by day, just get more comfortable. And I think the recipe for that is just to keep showing up at the gym, keep working my ass off, and obviously, build up the recharge center too. These two things, I really think, are two giant blessings in my life right now. And I think the recharge center and the community at TW, in the future, I'm gonna be telling this story that I drove out 2,700 miles all by myself, and that was the start of my life. This really feels like, and again, I grew up completely fine, nothing. I have zero drama in my life. There's very little death, nothing, anything, nothing notable to say. I literally came from the most, I've been comfortable with my whole entire life, and just to come out here and just to be in this new environment and everything, it's definitely moments that are scary, but it's definitely, it's new. I feel like I've been revived in a way. I feel like the past 3 years, a lot of people, were wondering where I've been. I kind of stopped going out. I stopped answering messages, and that wasn't to any individual or anything. That was just because I was literally in the process of rewiring my brain to be able to go towards the hard things, to know that going in the plunge right now is gonna make me feel 10 times better. It's gonna suck for 3 to 5 minutes, however long you're in there, but on the other end of that is like pure joy and happiness, and I think that's the recipe to life. And I think that's a realization that I've been very fortunate to have at this age. And I think that there's just from my experience, there's few people in my surroundings that had realized that. And there's no disrespect with me saying that. It's just I wanted to grow. I wanted to come out here and to figure myself out, really. And these past 17 days, man, it's been nuts. This is the start of everything. I'm telling you, in a few weeks, few months, we're gonna have something special here for sure.
Beautiful. I love erring on the end of hope and optimism, and just we keep working it and diligently moving forward. And so this podcast it's called Untapped for a reason, because we're trying to get into areas of untapped. Where do we go when maybe a moment or a time happens in our lives where we just kind of get a crushing, where maybe it could be a relationship thing, a work thing, a life thing, or whatever, where we just almost kind of hit rock bottom or go into a darkness, and we're forced to go into that place, into the untapped, of where we must be able to rely on that untapped. And I'm a believer in God that believes that I'm relying on God works in those times. He works his strongest through those untapped times. Where might be an example in your life where you might have entered into the untapped, and how did you come out of that spot?
I would say there was and again, like, I've had such a non-traumatic life that it's like funny. like I haven't grown up with like any negatives. Like, I'm so just grateful for the situation that I was brought up in. But I would say the past 3 years have been kind of that that moment of just like for the past 3 years, all I've done has been working out and reading, writing, and listening to stuff. That's all I've done. I've barely gone out. I've touched very little alcohol. I have gotten away from that complete, just that, oh, it's Friday night, let's go get fucked up, you know? I've gotten away from that lifestyle and more towards, how can I just be the best version of Jack Scialoia, you know? And I feel like people go wrong because they never ask themselves that. They never, they're so afraid to be different, and to know that it's okay to do something on your own, like driving 2,700 miles across the country. And again, this is the happiest period of my life right now, these past 17 days. And and the reason for that being is because the past 3 years I was lonely as fuck, pretty much. And definitely that's my own issue. Like, and it's not like I had no friends in Boston or whatever. I just felt like there was just something about the energy that I grew up in that just wasn't for me anymore. And I for a while, I convinced myself that I was depressed, that I was suicidal, that I was crazy. And I actually believed that for a while. And now that I'm on the other side of those feelings and I'm out here in Peoria, I see I wasn't fucking depressed. I was just not around the right situation. I wasn't following my dreams, and I wasn't following a passion or a purpose. And like, again, I'm still that spazzy high school wrestler white belt here. Like, I'm not skilled at all in the sport, but I know, and eventually I'm going to be. And the reason for that is because the mindset that I've created through Andy Frisella, Jordan Peterson, Goggins, all these people, Rogan, I'm really excited for my life now, and I've never really felt like that, and yeah, it feels good to finally have taken a chance on myself, and to stop fucking crying in my room alone, and to actually just to step out of my comfort zone and go towards, you know, where I'm supposed to be. And 2,700 miles later, it feels like it's the right place. And again, like, I need to make this clear. Like, it's not like I couldn't have done this in Boston. Like, and I've made that pretty clear to people I've been talking about the situation. Like, there's plenty of high-level MMA gyms in Boston. There's plenty of people that are like-minded like me. But at the same time, there was something pulling me to new environment, new people, new culture, new everything. And I was thinking about it for a while, because my sister's been in Phoenix for the past, I think, year and a half. So like that was like the idea of Arizona in my head. But as soon as I heard that the kid from Germany on the Red Hawk recap, yeah. And I heard that he was from Germany, and that he came out here and did this, and immediately I'm like, I'm not in fucking Germany. Like, I can do it too. Like, so that was the
nice.
That was the inspiration, and then from there it spiraled into this podcast. You know, my coming out party. I can't wait to start getting into this media stuff. I think I was built to have a voice, and to not really, like, I'm not a preacher or anything. I just I'm curious. I like to have discussions, long form discussions with people, and like, I think the podcasting has turned me into that. I think podcasting brainwashed me in a good way. Like, I've studied this shit. Like, I really feel like I've gotten like a whole other college education in the past 3 years. And to be honest, those 4 years of college, I couldn't tell you one thing I fucking remember. Like, and that's the way our educational system is right now. And that's why so many people are gravitating towards media and podcasts and everything, because this is real. You know, there's no script here. You know, we're talking from the heart, and that's what I have a passion for doing. Clearly, I've always been that kid sending way too long messages, and, you know, getting way too personal with people, and it's probably rubbed some people the wrong way. But for me, I just always like to go down that route. I always have been. I've always been that type of person to just always go deeper and deeper and deeper, and rather than like ignore stuff and ignore issues, you know what I mean? To just finally just to continue going deeper into things that matter, like education, martial arts, health, fitness, all this stuff, psychology, philosophy, just like social issues, all this stuff. Like, I'm very interested about the world and curious about the world. And like I said, March 2020, as soon as you see all the conflicting ideas back and forth on the news and shit, like, that's what started putting these thoughts into my head. Like, what else don't I know? Like what they're obviously what they're telling me on the TV is fucking bullshit. So, you know, how can I, you know, find what's right for me? And through listening to all these people that I've named, that's how I found it. And I really do see myself in the future having a career doing this, just because this feels like my passion.
Nice.
I clearly can't shut up. Like, I love to talk, but I love to talk about these specific things. Like, if I could put it under an umbrella, I would say wellness in general. But again, there's no limits too. I like to have real, honest conversations with people, and, you know, that inspiration's through, you know, those pretty much those four people I just named.
Good. I think it's awesome that I think about how Joe Rogan is on his podcast, and I think about how Tim and Sean are, and they really are about being real, about being open, mm-hmm. and just letting your real self come out, and not worrying about, oh, this person's going to think this about me if I say this, or that person's going to.
That's why I came out
and
here.
You got man. Tim and Sean, like, for example, they're real and open about having open relationships, and they got this whole thing going on. TMS stands for too much semen, and it's kind of like something that isn't discussed with probably for years and years back of guys struggling with that when they get into the 18 to 25, and you can go deep into some of those areas. Is that there's some thoughts where biologically, especially if you're staying active and you're being healthy, is 14 to 23 was designed to be married and to possibly produce. And because of it is now, it's kind of the way the culture is and all the life is. Anyways, if you're training at a very high level, it can create a thing where you're going to be over driven. And then there's the other side of, hey, if you're not committed to one person, can you really get deep enough in your relationship and love? You're sharing that. There's both sides to it. There's a two-side thing. Well, Tim and Sean are open about that, and that's one thing that they do, and maybe somebody doesn't agree with that. Is that a reason then to just target them like, these are bad guys, these are not good guys, when at the same time these guys have built and encouraged hundreds of thousands of young people around the world to improve their lives, to change their health, to help other people, to kind of like what Jack was just talking about right now, and stepping into something where they're becoming strong members of society and contributing and leading and doing these, getting into these things, healthy disciplines and being diligent and all the things that they're inspiring. And somebody just wants to focus on that one thing. Well, would it be better if they just kept it quiet like a lot of people do and have these hidden sins? And then, thinking about the Bible, there's scripture that says God dislikes people who are lukewarm more than people who are hot or cold. One foot
in, 1 foot out.
There you go. So if somebody is lukewarm and they're hiding something or they're not open about it or whatever, God actually dislikes those persons, he says, more than the person who has said, hey, this is what I do, and maybe that is something that person is struggling with or against God, or maybe you don't agree with it, or maybe it's something that we're not actually seeing is actually in alignment with the Bible. I don't know, but the point is that I really admire somebody who is open more than maybe, unfortunately, I think at a lot of churches, there's a lot of pretending going on. There's a lot of hierarchies. There's a lot of people that are saying, like, I'm perfect. I'm living perfectly. Everything I do is perfect. And, oh, that person over there, they got this going on. So let's stay away from them. Let's exclude ourselves completely from these people. Let's point our fingers and say, oh, they're into that. I'm better than them. They are terrible people. And that's one thing that really bugs me, and maybe I was guilty of that in some shades in different parts of the life.
We all have been, seriously.
I get deep into maybe a church for a while, and a lot of good came there too, as I'd grow in different areas, but then the exclusiveness or whatever. But I've just I really see a model when I study the Bible more and more of Jesus. I just love learning more about his life, as he didn't fall into that exclusivity. In fact, he spoke against it.
Welcome to everybody.
He spoke against people who were like that. He spoke against the lukewarm, against the people, the experts, the religious scholars, the people who were on that end. And he said in community, do good to one another, help one another, love one another. These commandments were set, and if you're loving one another, you're gonna follow the, don't murder, these things that we all know that are good principles to live a peaceful life, to build one another up. Those kinds of things is I think what's beautiful. And I think we're all flawed people. The Bible says too, all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. So every person is a work in progress. We need each other. We need each other to build one another up. And I'm really grateful Jack came along at a really good time for us, for me as an individual as well. It was probably 3-4 weeks ago. This is kind of mixed in with an update of the cancer situation, as we had a really bad scan, I think I'd mentioned in the last podcast, and we weren't really sure what to do next with it, and it was starting to get bad pretty fast. I was having trouble. I operate in windows where it was getting harder and harder to find. The windows were getting shorter each day, where I might just have a couple hours and here and there to get stuff done. So for our business, Ara takes care of everything in the kitchen, and I take care of everything that have to do with business operations. So we're pretty much a 50-50 team. Do a lot of things, purchasing and behind the scenes and the tracking and all the business side. Well, when that side, one side or the other falls down, ours working. My side kind of fell. I was having to go to the hospital more. I was sick and less time. Business took a little hit and kind of snuck up on us, and so we found ourselves in a tough spot. And all of a sudden, the bad scan, and then we've got a tumor that's really bugging me. That's in the spine, and it's pressing on a nerve back there. So that one was really getting to me. This is it was probably for like 10 days or so, and where it was just maddening, where I wasn't sleeping much at night, and I was still trying to be a dad, take the kids to school, go to work, try to keep up my battling cancer, which includes I usually spend 4 hours a day on average of exercise or doing something healthy, and that exercise includes.
Listen, I hate to interrupt you. This dude has terminal cancer for the past 11 years, and he works out for 4 hours a day. Meanwhile, what, 80% of America is on their couch, stuffing their faces with Ben and Jerry's watching Netflix. Like, this is why I came out here. And I hate to cut you off, but I have to put this out there, seriously. Like, this is why I came out here. I had no idea. Well, actually, no. I had listened to a couple of Kyle's podcasts before without even knowing. And then while he was talking to me the first time, I was like, do I know this guy's voice? And then when he said his story, I was like, holy shit, I do know this guy. But that being said, like, that's why this guy, these type of people, that's why I came out here. Because they know that nothing good in life comes without suffering.
We're super grateful.
Nothing good comes in life without doing the hard shit that no one wants to do. And that's the problem with America today. No one wants to do the hard shit because we're all, I think this started in March 2020. At least it took I think so too. It started to speed up at least. Everyone's just glued to their iPads, just not playing sports, not getting outside. Peoria, it's a different story. But from where I was, it's just right now, I think the world needs people talking about topics like this right now.
Both
like
of us
they need
that.
People that, like, if he's doing all that shit, 4 hours of working out, going for runs, boxing, jiu-jitsu, lifting weights with terminal cancer, why the fuck can't you go to the gym for 45 minutes once a day?
I appreciate that.
Like, seriously. And that's why I came out here. Seriously, to find there was something in my head, and that something, it's God. Seriously, that voice in my head. That's how I think about shit. We were talking about this last night. The way, so Andy Frisella talks about this a lot. We have the boss voice, and we have the bitch voice in our head. Our brain is split 50-50, and our entire lives we're trying to manage those two voices. The way I think about it, I kind of put my own little twist on it. That good voice is God. That good voice is Jesus.
Amen.
And that bad voice is Satan.
Yeah.
And Satan wants you to stay in your room, smoking weed all day, playing video games, ordering takeout. God wants you to, go train for an hour, go sit in that plunge, go hit the sauna, go do the red light, and then at the end of that suffering, you're good for the next 24 hours.
I love it.
That this lifestyle, this culture, this everything about just wellness in general. That's why I'm out here to hear people, to surround myself with people like him. Seriously,
that's beautiful.
It's funny too because I came out here for Tim, and like I came out here for the culture that he brings to the gym, and I'm like I don't think I've ever built this. I've never connected with another human being, like anyone my age or anyone like a teacher, a coach, or anything like I have with Kyle. And I feel
thanks, brother.
I feel like it's because we share a similar philosophy. I have been through nowhere near the amount of stuff that he's been through, but I think somehow, some way, we kind of clicked with our mindsets, and I'm just grateful that, you know, I guess these podcasts kind of just brainwashed me into thinking stuff. But you know, I really feel like it's working out. I'm just pumped to be out here.
We've got the I'm really grateful for that. Thanks for saying those words. It's
Sorry for
encouraging.
cutting you off.
No, it's good. No, I really appreciate it. It feels good. I mean, especially when you're not feeling good. Words like that really mean a lot, and especially wouldn't even be in the position to be able to take care of those things. The exercise isn't just me going crazy for 4 hours straight. It's like he was saying, is cold plunge. I consider that exercise, breath work, and things like that. But if I don't do that, one of the factors is it's not that as big of a deal as it might sound, because a lot of it's because I don't want to die. If I don't do it, I go towards death. So it's kind of it's a factor that makes it. I think that's probably one of the best motivators that you could have is like, oh shoot, you know, it's almost like if there's, you know, I don't have any fear but fear of God, and maybe that fear of God is attached in, hey, I don't want to die. I want to live for God. God wants us to live. Reasons for living, I believe, is Jesus, who died on the cross for our sins. And I'm so grateful. The love of one another, loving one another in a community. I've been loved on so much more than I deserve in this community, and prayed for, and going through tough times. And I just want to be able to share that and pay that forward my best and stay healthy. So we had those 10 really rough days, and so my doctor was feeling really, I'm so grateful to have such an amazing doctor. This guy, I wish I could get him on the podcast. Maybe I will be able to do that one day. But he sees me and we hug each other and we say, hey brother, how you doing? And he loves the UFC. He says now he's a Sugar fan, and he's just a really positive, hope-filled dude. He calls me up on the phone and checks on me, and he was really feeling bad that I was suffering so much. So we decided to go with a kind of a steroid that will shrink the tumors. We can probably ride that for 2 to 3 weeks, and it also gives me a little bit of energy boost. So it came at a great time. All of a sudden, here comes Jack, and we got to talking, and we definitely had some gaps we needed help with. I mean, as little as something as is when Chef Mama Ara comes in and I'm in the hospital, and we're coming in the morning, and she's got to bring the stuff because we're cooking off site right now, and to have Jack help out with that, or somebody to help us with the meals, and he really helped get some energy up for us to get our sales team out. And it was a godsend, because when it got really tough, definitely it was struggling with what he was. I like how you said that you got the inner bitch, and what's the other side?
The boss voice.
The boss voice.
And that's not mine. That's Andy Frisella.
That's
Andy
okay.
Frisella has that.
And so like it's that doubt that hit me, and that voice was coming through, and I knew it was the enemy whispering at me, but I was still trying to work through it and thinking things like, hey, we might lose the house now. We might lose a business, and I might not be able to be around as much. Would it be better if I just passed, so then life insurance could kick in and the community could help would this be better to go that route? Just a lot of tough time into the Untapped in the darkness. And I was really thinking deeply about this when I was watching Sugar go into his fight. And I just love this so much, because all of the work and all the discipline, all the challenge and the trials that he went through in his fight camp, that we got to be a little bit involved with, and I got to share some messages with him. There were very strong and mutual encouragement during that time with him, and then with the meals and everything like that. But when he's entering that fight, this is to a championship fight where he's the underdog. I think out of 26 or 30 reporters or something like that, only one guy.
No. The number, I want to say Dana White had a press conference after, and it was 70.
That's right.
It was 70 reporters in the room, and one raised their hand when he said, "Who had O'Malley winning tonight?" One.
Yeah.
That's
insane. Imagine him. All the pressure on him. It's basically this is such a huge thing for his life, and at the same time he's going to be okay. But there's all this pressure and all these things going around him, all these challenges of making weight, cutting weight to 135. What he goes through during that time, and you start to go through kind of what a chemo patient goes through in some ways, and all these things going around him. And if you see him walking into the ring, he's locked in.
Dialed
He's
in, yeah.
he's in the right state of mind. When he's in that ring after he wins, he's in the right state of mind. And I was thinking about how when I go in to train jiu-jitsu, sometimes people are like, oh, you must not be that sick, you're in there training jiu-jitsu or something like that. And I don't even want to entertain that kind of stuff or whatever, so I usually just brush it out. But when the suffering hits, when this tumor pain's hitting me and all these things are going around, I really had a huge download when I was kind of thinking about what sugar does, and he stays in that state of mind. He calls it the higher self or meditation in that area. And for me, an analogy that really hits heavy for me where I go in those places is when God parted the Red Sea for Moses. Moses had his community of people, the troops. They were in war. They're being attacked from everywhere. They'd be trying to wipe out the face of the earth, God's plan. And Moses was there. What do? The sea is in front of us. He parted that sea so they could walk through that sea. And you imagine the giant sea on either side of you, and you're just walking through that narrow path. And that's the state that I like to get into, is when everything's coming at me, when I'm driving in this Arizona sun and I'm feeling so sick, and I'm going from here to the appointments, and the pain is hitting me, and it's a rough moment, and I can't rest. And I take those breaths, I get into my good breath, and I think about those principles, those cold plunge of where we practice this thing of walking through the Red Sea, and I'm walking through that middle of the sea, and I've got my eyes focused, and maybe I clear my mind, and maybe I go on a good thing. Maybe it's some music where I find a rhythm outside of time and space. I'm operating outside of time and space, and I'm walking through that sea, and that's the time when I can really hear the voice of God more clearly, I believe, and that's where I can see the face of Jesus, where I can really see where I'm supposed to be headed, where really keep my eyes focused. And sometimes it's like, oh no, I take my eyes off of it, and the sea starts to crumble in on me, and then I get back into that state again. And that's kind of what I do when I go in and I roll jiu-jitsu, is I'm able to get in that state, and I'm able to bring around these people who love one another, and we're working together, and we're pushing ourselves in combat to this crazy spot of working together, sweating together, that sauna, and all those principles coming together. And that's one reason I love what this community is doing. It's a worldwide thing going on, and it's an uprising. I believe God is behind it. It's a revival. It's an uprising to get to that point where we can walk in the middle in the Red Sea, no matter what's going on around us, and we've got that community of people to walk right through us. We're not alone walking through the valley of the shadow of death, because that's the ultimate goal of the enemy is, I believe, and that inner bitch voice is to try to take us out, isolate us, and take us so that we end up just killing ourselves. But no, we can walk through that Red Sea no matter how bad it gets, whatever it could be, that good, to clear our minds and just walk through that Red Sea and keep that focus, go to God, seek out God, and just rise up out of that untapped, and know we can love one another. We can take that focus. I think that's one thing too I forgot to mention, is I just think about praying or loving on other people walking through there. It's just such a good state to be in. And man, today I'm so grateful for this time, and I look forward to more updates and talking together into the Untapped. We look forward to getting a update with Levi, and I wanted to give a shout out to Jimmy Dirty Deets last night. We went to his MMA event, Rough MMA.
That was awesome.
Oh man, he looked amazing. We've got two of the in the world, some of the youngest, most exciting MMA fighter in Jimmy Dirty Deets, and then Taya Swartz for jiu-jitsu, who did phenomenal in a huge event she had out in California, and she's just been crushing it. She's a purple belt, and those two are in our community right now. And it was so awesome to see Jimmy win. The way he's just an incredible striker. He's one of the best out there. Under Tim Welts and Jakar Close and Courtney Casey, I mean, you're seeing some guys coming out of our gym that are changing the game, kind of maybe the next under the threat of Sugar Sean. I mean, there may never be another Sugar Sean entertained, but we got some people coming up in this thread in the community who are following a lot of the principles that Sugar kind of paved the way for. And last night we got some great Joe. But Jimmy had a little bit of obstacles going against a really pretty high level guy for being an amateur fighter, and oh man, the way his striking hit, his explosiveness, his shots, it was beautiful. The same thing with Teo, which she's doing. They're leading a next gen game change, so we're super excited about that.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like, that is why I came out here, because I've never been around people like my age that I've like genuinely looked up to, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I'm 23 years old, and like when you walk into that gym and you see, for example, like that 17-year-old Damien, right?
He's awesome. Love Damien.
Like just the youth,
what a dude,
in the room, and how skillful everyone is at such a young age is like
next level.
It's so encouraging, and it's not intimidating. It's so encouraging and inspiring, and it makes you think like, okay, in a few years I can do this too. And yeah, that's why I'm here, to surround myself like people like that. And
man, Damien, man, what a great example. 17 years old, way beyond his years, and you've got Rick and Melissa, just amazing parents to him. And this dude is not just, he's going after it in jiu-jitsu. And in fact, I think this is happening, is that his mom and dad asked him, hey, where do you want to go to college? He's a high achiever in high school, finishing early and just the top of the level. He's in a basically like a ASU scholarship program, and he said, hey, I want to go to school at the Red Hawk Academy. I want to train under Tim Welch. I want to work towards becoming a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Much better than my college education.
Mine
Seriously.
too. And people don't think about that, is that becoming a black belt in jiu-jitsu, I heard Tim say it the other day on the Red Hawk recap, is there's not a lot in there. You become a black belt in a really strong jiu-jitsu program, and hey, you're got the ability to have your own school and become pretty quickly make a six-figure income.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of college degrees can claim that. And not to mention, Tim is also having like real college. He's having Damien read one book a week. He's holding him to weightlifting every day that Rick is backing up, his dad. And we love Damien. He's got uncles, and he's got Rick. A beautiful story of how Rick adopted him. Melissa met Rick in the gym, and Rick ended up adopting Damien, and it's one of the most beautiful stories. Should be a movie. I mean, right there. And Damien is, oh my gosh, this kid's crazy. He's training like 2-3 times a day. He's flying triangles, and he's so fun to watch, and just the nicest. He always asks how I'm doing. He always gives me a hug. He's been a huge factor in encouraging me to get healthier. I see him almost every day, and I just love this kid, Damien, man. Good call.
Yeah, it's like I forget. I asked him that a couple of days ago. I was like, "How old are you?" He's like 17. I'm like, "Fuck."
Just turned 17, I think, too.
It's so again, like I feel like I've repeated myself to you over the past 2 weeks like so many times, but it's because I'm so happy.
I feel it.
I'm so happy here. It's so refreshing to be around a group of people that I'm finally like-minded with, and I have a lot to learn. Like, I am lowest level compared to them, but few months, few years, whatever, however long it takes,
I love it.
I do see myself like them in the future, and not in terms of accolades or anything like that, just mindset and the way you carry yourself as a human being in society. It's being a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like, you're gonna walk a certain way, people are gonna talk to you a certain way, and it's because everyone knows that's hard as fuck to do, because it takes consistency, determination, and going through that suffering and going through those 6, 7, 8 minute rounds, 7, 8, 9 times in it. Like, it's just it's for me personally, just from my background of there's literally nothing you guys need to know about like how I grew up, and I like, again, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just I've been I feel like my situation is like millions of kids just like stuck in the same neighborhood, same town, same city with, you know, just like doing the same job as their like siblings or parents or whatever. And like there's nothing wrong with that if you feel fulfilled, but for me, I just never did. Even with teaching, I genuinely love teaching, but my goal in life is to wake up and to be like excited to attack the day, and to be excited to do my list of things, and not be like, it's Tuesday. Like, you know, like I that's what I'm looking for right now. I'm finding my purpose, and I think I'm on the verge. I don't want to say it's like completely refined yet, but right now I'm in the right place to figure that out. So
very nice. That's good stuff. So we're gonna keep checking in on this stuff. I think this beautiful word. We've got a plan in place too for the cancer treatment. That always feels good when there's not a plan. It's a little bit tough, but now we've made a plan. We're gonna thank God that my doctor, he connected with Mayo Clinic, another fantastic, awesome specialist there at Mayo Clinic, is setting me up with a new trial. And we're going to give this a run, and we're going to probably radiate. We got a little bit more time to write on this kind of med that I'm using, give me more energy. So I'm really trying to give a push to the recharge center. I don't like to share negative stuff, but over time, reaching out and asking for prayer has helped save my life and has helped get us into a better place. And hopefully I can pay that forward and spread the word. But we're asking for prayer right now and encouragement for the business to grow it right now, and also to get this damn cancer out of here, man. We got to get this cancer out. We're going to start that new treatment soon. There's probably going to be some rough adjustment days in it, and we're going to have to hit a little bit more radiation and get that tumor off the spine. But hey, we got a plan in place, and we're grateful for Jack here. I believe that God is working strongly, and I hope people can see evidence of that here. It feels so good to do this podcast. It feels so healthy to communicate. If anything, I've got my family listening, we've got our families listening, and that can carry on to the generations. I would have loved to see what my dad had to say, or my grandfather had to say around this time, maybe when they were going through some tough times. So that's one great thing we have out of this technology, and the way things are shifting away from TV and to podcasts and things like that. So we're really grateful to be a part of this movement, and we can't wait for what's next. We'd love to hear some feedback. We'd love to hear your words. Please like, subscribe, share, get the word of the Recharge Center out. And Sugar Sean O'Malley, we're so grateful to him. We're working on possibly growing something pretty strong together. Please visit the Red Hawk Recap and Art of Recovery. Come and get a cycle there. It's an amazing spot of healing. I know Jack's been using that every day this week.
I'm serious. Like, it took me, I've been using like the cold showers for like a few months, or no, a few years. But as soon as I got here, literally the first thing I did was get in the plunge, and I noticed today's Sunday, so they're closed, and I noticed like that Monday morning last week, I like noticeably felt like more anxiety, and it was because like I had gotten used to the feeling of the plunge, and I'm telling you, like it out of anything, sauna, like any type of recovery, anything. For me, in my opinion, the plunge can literally like change your brain. You could go into the plunge pissed off about something, and 3 minutes later come out with a completely different view on it. And that's happened to me several times. It's insane.
Heck yeah. The when I get fevers, that's the only thing that I found where the plunge doesn't vibe with me. In the last few weeks, I've been able to cover the fevers up and have some windows. So I've been doing the cold plunge more. Man, you're so right. Makes a difference. I'll get in there. I'll use the one at Art of Recovery. That's the ultimate, where I'll get in and get my best cold plunges, but I got a little chest freezer at home, and I'll hop in there. And if I can, I'll try to get in there as often as I can throughout the day.
Kyle's doing like 12 plunges a day, like some psycho shit.
If if there's no fevers, I try to do a lot. It's been definitely helps with so many side effects, nausea, the pain. If I get pain, I'll go there before I hit some painkillers. But definitely it helps with the energy, and especially this damn Arizona heat.
Seriously, that's been a crazy adjustment.
Heck yeah.
But I love it so far, man.
Hey, well, everybody, thank you so much for watching. We love you guys. Episode 31 done. We look forward to the next one.
Thanks,
Have a
guys.
best week ever.